always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Orphea, and I am back at you with another video. So for all of my new subscribers, welcome to the Trophy Nation. And for all of my existing subscribers, thank you so much for your continued love and support. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified as soon as I drop these videos. For everyone who is not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscription button. I'm trying to get to 1,000, y'all. I've been waiting for this for a while now, so y'all stop playing with me. For this video, I wanted to answer a question that was asked. Now, we all know that, I do multiple jobs. I'm into stocks, I'm into camming, I'm into sexting. What else? There are other things that I'm into. I just can't say them off the top of my head right now. But my channel is mostly about, camming. That's where I built it from. That's where I started from. Now, I have done one or two videos on, texting, and I have not, elaborated a lot on my texting job, just because there is not much to say. It's not much about it. It's pretty boring. And if you don't set a goal and, have a strong mindset and say, this is what I want to make for the month out of this platform, then you're pretty much not gonna be motivated to do it. So, but I got a comment from my girl, Yolene K. Hey baby girl, hey. She commented below one of my videos. She was asking, I'm gonna read it off the computer screen, so you see me looking over here, I'm looking at the computer screen. So she said, can you please talk about your text job work schedule and how you make 10,000 something messages with 100% what's this response rates, please? Like I only get 85. Now it's not 100% response rate. The 100% that you see there is basically for grammar. So I'm gonna show you my screen in a minute, but hold on, let me show you my screen and then set you back up, and then we continue talking. Okay, so don't mind this in the corner right here. I'm just watching Netflix, so we're just gonna skip past that. So this is the opening platform right here. This is where I go to log into my messages, and these are the platforms that I have here. If you notice, I have 4 of them. Now these are, basically where people are at as it relates to that. Now I'm figuring where she's responding to the 100% is here where it says quality score, and as you can see, this is the amount of messages I've sent so far, and this is the amount of euro dollars. See, here it is. It doesn't say, it's not a dollar sign. This is euro that I've made, because I feel like I can't say that shit enough. But yeah, that's what I've made for the whole month. So now that you've gotten all of that, let's put all this into context now. So I'm gonna flip the screen back around and we're gonna talk some more on it. Okay, so I'm not sure if I got that right, but anyways, so I just showed you basically what it was. So I don't the 100% response, I'm not quite understanding what you're saying there. I'm thinking that the 100% response, you mean to say 100% quality, and that's the quality of your messages. So let's talk about the quality of our messages first, and then we move on to like scheduling and stuff like that. So when you're doing this, a big part of keeping your job is to make sure that the quality of messages that you are sending out is pretty high. So anything below 85 will automatically put you in a state where you need to go back into coaching or you get fired. So the whole thing is try to keep your quality score above 100. Now, above 85. Now, before I go any further, for all y'all who's going to talk about lighting, blah, 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 shut up. I'm working. I'm doing this. I need to get this video done and out. Okay? So, back to the topic. Anyways, your quality needs to be high. Now, the quality of message that you put out, the thing is, you must have one question in there, and your sentence should be grammatically constructed, right? So once your sentence is grammatically constructed properly and you do have a question in there, and when I say grammatically constructed properly, I mean you have your commas where they're supposed to be, your capital letters where you're supposed to be, and the full stops where you're supposed to be, as well as the right use of verbiage. And again, you need to have a question. Now, once you have that, your quality score will remain above 85, 90 to 100. Now, one tool that I use that I probably shouldn't be making mention of because it's not like I'm being sponsored by them or anything. The tool that I use is Grammarly. Grammarly helps with that a lot. I am currently using the free version of Grammarly. I'm not using the paid version of it just because it's messages that I'm sending. I'm not writing a whole script, a whole novel, a whole essay, a whole nothing. I'm just writing a couple of sentences and that's it. So I use the free version, but if you want to go ahead and pick one of their packages and pay for it, then do you, boo boo, to make sure that your thing is good. So that's one tool that I have in my pocket as it relates to that. Also, when you sign up for these companies, no matter what text chat company you go with, they will tell you that you need to have Grammarly. Point blank, period. Another part that she touched on was basically how I send 10K messages or 10,000 something messages for the month. Now, for this month, I'm projecting to send anywhere between 11 to 12,000 messages. And that's simply because I schedule myself to make that. Firstly, what I do is I calculate how many messages I can work per hour and how many hours I'm able to sit at a time. Now, seeing that this job is 24 hours, you can basically log on for however long you want. You can do an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, or you can do a full 8 hours per day. Now, because messaging has not been on the top par like it used to be, I barely work 6 or 7 hours a day anymore. Well, it used to be 6 hours a day that I used to work. I barely sit for 6 hours straight and send messages. Now, the first thing you need to do is figure out how many messages are you able to send per hour. Once you figure out how many messages you're able to send per hour, then you're able to break it up and see how many messages you can send for the 24-hour period. You also need to set a goal as to how many messages you need to send for the month, how many days you will be taking as days off, and basically it. So say, for example, you say, I want to send 10,000 messages for the month of July, right? We know that July has 31 days. Now, you need to figure out, am I going to take 2 days off or am I going to take 1 day off each week? That's what you need to do, because you definitely need a day off. This does get, strenuous on the mind if you don't know what you're doing. Now, once you figure out how many messages, how many days you're going to work. So let's say you're going to work for 28 days. Is that right? Say you're going to take 4 days off. So I think that's going to leave you with 28 days. I'm not sure if my math is right now. I'm just trying to go off memory. So let's say you're going to work for 28 days and the remaining days are going to be your days off, right? You choose whatever days that's going to be in whichever week. And if you're going to take 2 of those days in 1 week or 2 of those days back to back, or if you're going to take, it's up to you. Once you figure out how many days off you're willing to take away from the platform, then you need to figure out how many hours you're going to work per day. So how many hours you're going to work per day is going to be dependent on how many messages you can send for the day and how many messages you need to send for the day. So say, for example, you are able to send 60 messages per hour. So you're able to send 1 message every single minute. So you're able to send 60 messages per hour. And say, for example, you need 400 messages a day. right? Now, if you can send 60 messages per hour, that means in 2 hours time, you will have 120 messages. 4 hours time, you'll have 240 messages. So you can decide, okay, I'm going to send 240 messages tonight or in the night, and I'm going to send 240 more messages in the morning, or 245 messages. Wait, no, I said 400 messages, right? So we don't need that much. So you can decide that I'm going to send, let me calculate this. I'm so sorry. Listen. Like for me, this month, I decided that I was going to take 4 days off. And I basically took my 4 days off earlier on in the month, and it wasn't planned. So because of that, it kind of pushed me back a little bit, because I was planning to take 1 day every single week for the week of this month. But it didn't work out that way. Sometimes it doesn't, based off all of what I have to do. But let's say we have 31 days and we're taking away 4 days. So that's 27 days that you have to send your messages. So 27 days, you decide that you want to send 10,000 messages for the month. And you're going to take that 10,000, divide it by 27. And now you know you need 370 messages per day to get to your goal. So for 27 days, you're going to need 370 messages now for each day. Now you need to decide, how am I going to do this? Am I going to work all day to send these 300 messages, which I can knock 300 messages out of the park easy. That's nothing. But first you need to find out, how many messages can I send per hour? Now, I was saying, just say you were able to send 60 messages per hour. So we're going to divide that 370 by 2, because you can work morning and evening. So you can start working at 8 in the morning, take a long break, and then start working back at around 2-3 o'clock, right? So say you're able to send 60 messages per hour, right? And I just got brain freeze. So say you need to work 60 messages per hour, and you need to send 180 messages for your first session before your lunchtime. Let's do it like that. Let's break it like that, easy. So for your first for your morning session, you need to send 185 messages, because you need to send 370 messages for the day. We're going to put it at 186. Now you're going to say you can send 60 messages per hour, because you can send 1 message per minute, which means 2 hours will give you 120 messages, right? So let's say you're going to work 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the evening. So you start working at 8. Stop working at 11, or earlier than 11, because you're not going to need the entire 3 hours, because you can send 60 messages per minute, per hour. So you're going to work for 3 hours from 8 till 11. Take a break from 11 to 3 o'clock. And then when you start back working at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, whatever, you work again till 6. And that's your 370 messages for the day. This is basically how I work it out to work for me, right? You can also say, let me send 60 messages now, take an hour break, send 60 messages again, take another hour break, send 6. You can do it that way. You break it up however you feel comfortable breaking it up, because sometimes this job is pretty freaking tedious, and it's very repetitive with some of the things that you have to say. So you have to be mindful about how you schedule your time. So that's how I do it. So you find something that works for you and stick to it. So that's how I would end up sending say 10,000 messages for the month. So I would firstly figure out how many messages I can work, how many messages I need to work for the month, how many messages do I need for the day, and how many messages can I send for an hour. And then I break it up throughout the hours of the day, which is 24 hours, in order to send that amount of messages. And that's basically how that is done. Let me see if there's another part of the question that I did not answer. I'm trying to rush this along because I need to get to work. It's past my work time. So yeah, that's basically it. That's basically what she asked. She asked about my scheduling, how to make that, and how to keep 100% quality. And I'm not always at 100% quality. Sometimes I'm a bit off with that. There are times when I do miss putting in a question mark, but you can't make that you can't make that mistake too often because you will get fired from these jobs. You need to have a question in there. And you just need to be motivated and have a strong mindset in order to keep yourself motivated in order to send that amount of messages. Another reason why I'm able to send that amount of messages is because each platform is different. Now with ABC has, I think, 3 different companies that they work that contracts them to get employees. So there are 3 different companies that ABC works for. So there are 3 different platforms that ABC has. I'm on one of the platforms. I've worked one of the other platforms before, which is what most company that does sexting work with. I've worked with that company before, on that platform before, but I'm now working on this platform, which requires you to have 4 different platforms in 4 different countries. And the platform that I'm on, you need to send 75 characters per message, right? So that's another thing that helps me to send messages a lot faster because my character is low. The amount of characters that I need to put in a message is really low than the others who have, like, say, a 120 or a 150 characters that is required. They've recently raised it to 90 characters recently, like last month, I think. They raised it from 75 to 90, but it's still a lot, lower than all the other platforms. So that's another thing that helps me to get in and send in those messages a lot faster. Also, it depends on what platform you on. You can do voice to text. So you can literally just speak what you're saying and the computer types it for you and put it in, so you don't need to be doing this all the time. I love to because I love the keyboard and I love all that. And I also do the voice thing, and that helps a lot too. It is best to type it because when you type it, less errors are made. But when you voice it, things that you say may not be what is reflected in the text that is there, and it can make your sentence be completely different from what you're meaning to say. Or you say Tim and the computer type in Tom and you didn't even check it and you end up sending it off, and then the customer calls back, who the hell is Tom, right? My name is Tim. So you need to be mindful of things like those if you're gonna do the voice thing. But I would recommend you to type it because that lessens the amount of mistakes that you're gonna make as it relates to that. So yeah, that's it for this portion of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this answered your question, baby girl. I know not a lot of people will be interested in this part because they don't do the sexting thing, they do the whole camming part. But yeah, this is for you, baby girl. You supported me, you comment down my videos, and I appreciate you for that. So this is what I do. This is my little tips and tricks as to how to achieve what I want to achieve. And you just gotta stay motivated. Sometimes I take a shot, sometimes it's music, and a lot of the times it's white noise. I listen to something that I watched many times before. Like for me, I love listening over to Angry Birds or Shrek on Netflix, and I play those over and over while I'm texting, just so that I don't get bored. Another thing that I use to help me, I use my headset and I highlight the whole text and let the computer read it for me. I don't sit and read it for myself. So while the computer is reading, I'm responding. So that's another trick too. So my tools that I use are Grammarly. I use the read aloud, and I also, not so much so, but sometimes so much so, is the voice to text. Those three things. Now, not all platforms will allow you to do voice to text, but all the platforms will allow you to have the computer read the messages to you, and that helps you to move along a lot faster rather than you sitting there reading and then you take a minute to read and then another minute to type. No, you have it reading to you and you typing at the same time, so everything is done in 1 minute. So that's that. I hope this helped. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love y'all. Bye.